91 years ago, a baby girl was born. My father rejected me because he wanted a baby boy, because he would name Jesus, Jesus, in Spanish. So, he was so disappointed that a baby girl was born. And then, my mother saw in the calendar like this, La Natividad del Señor. So, she said, I think I'm going to name my daughter Natividad. That's how I got the name. Then, my father went down because of the disappointment. But then, he returned. He asked for an apology to my mother for rejecting me. 12 children she produced. 2 died while young. So 10 survived. 10 of us survived. The eldest name is Francisca. Second, Natividad. Third, Felipe. Fourth, Presentación. 5, Fermin. 6, Desideria. 7, Desideria. Leovina. 8, Franco. 9, Jordan. Oh, I missed one. I missed one. Presentación. Leovina. The 5th. Leovina. Because 10 is Jordan, the youngest. Then all of us studied, but when we were in the 4th and 5th grade, my sister, the eldest, Francisca, and me, my mother brought us to a boarding school. They were paying 25 pesos for each of us. So they were paying 50 pesos a month. That is the place where we call it Colegio de Santa Isabel, run by Spanish sisters that came from Madrid, Spain. And there, that is the place where we learned our Spanish. My sister and me spoke Spanish. We were called colegiala. Colegiala means you study in a colegio. That's why I call it Colegio de Santa Isabel. So, we were there boarding for 4 years. We stayed 4 years in that boarding school. Every morning you have to speak English, all the English subjects. Every afternoon you have to speak Spanish. If you are caught talking English in the afternoon, you will be fined 5 centavos a word. If you are caught speaking Spanish in the morning, you will be fined 5 centavos a word. So that was the discipline in the Colegio de Santa Isabel. That was the discipline. After 4 years, my mother brought us out. Then we enrolled in the high school. But first we transferred to another colegio which was run by Benedictine sisters. Benedictine. There we were 3rd year, I was there 3rd year and 4th year. And my sister, 4th year, she graduated in that college, and I graduated there. So we never went to a public school, all in the colegio. After my graduation, after graduation, my sister got married because he had a good boyfriend. He was so industrious that he got married and then produced children. But then me, after graduation, I told my mother, Nanay, I want to go to Manila and study. You will study, we have no money for you. No, I said, Nanay, you just pay my tuition, only the tuition. For my board and lodging, I will earn it by working. I will apply, I said, in one of the colleges where I know 2 sisters from Santa Isabel, and I will apply to work there in order to get my free board and my free lodging. So my mother consented. And you know, that very day when I was about to leave, there was you call it a hueteng, that is gambling. Then I gave 10 cents, 10 centavos. Then you know, I won. You know how much did I win? 135 pesos. And so I told my mother, Nanay, I have already for my transportation. You do not need to give me any transportation in going to Manila because I have won 135 pesos. She was so happy that she did not anymore give me money for transportation. So I went to Manila. Then I applied. I went to San Rosa College, and then I told her, Sor Alfonsa, I want to apply for my board and lodging because I am going to enroll in the Centro Escolar University. The Centro Escolar University is 1 or 2 blocks away from Malacañang, and the college where I was going to work was only 1 block away from the Centro Escolar University. Then Sor Alfonso asked me, what can you do? I can type English and Spanish. Because when I was in the 3rd year and 4th year, I studied typewriting. So Sor Alfonso said, okay, maybe you can assist the principal of the school. So when I applied, Sor Consuelo was the principal. Said, Sor Consuelo, can I apply, I said, to work with you in your office? What can you do? I said, I can type. I know how to type. I know how to fix things and all that. Can you give me a job? Okay, you will be my secretary. I was so happy that I became the secretary of a principal of a school. Okay, that's how I earned my board and my lodging for 4 years. After graduation from the Centro Escolar University, they took me as a faculty member. Average was 1.75. And when you have that average, that means to say you have the brain. So they took me as a faculty member. But when I was going to work as a faculty member, my boyfriend, my husband, came back from the ship where he was working. He went back to the Philippines to look for me. because he wanted to marry me. And then, when I was going to, after my graduation, he said, okay, I want to get married. I want to marry you. I said, marry me? I said, maybe I said it is too early to marry. No, it is not too early. Okay, I said, you go home to Uwas and get my hand from my mother and from my father. Because I don't want to marry you without the consent of my parents. So I said, you go to Uwas, I'll buy. Because I was in Manila. So he went to Uwas, he said. Then after 5 days, he came back as a with the consent. And then my father came to Manila to witness the marriage. So we were married in the cathedral of Intramuros, that is a very prestigious church. But we had only around 12 guests. Instead of celebrating my wedding day, it was very silent. And then we only ate in a Chinese restaurant. The 12 of us. The sponsor, which is Mr. and Mrs. Alvarez. That is the place where I boarded when I was already teaching. I already went out of the center of the Colegio de Consuelo. And then, my husband, we had our honeymoon and all that. And after, I think, a month or so, he left me to join again the Navy. Because, you know, Navy men are always like that. They leave, they go, they come, they go, they come. So he left me for 1 month. After a month, he came back again. Then he arranged for my pension. I received a pension. You know how much I was receiving? $100 a month. He arranged for that pension. And then my brother, Felipe, the next to me, graduated in the high school. And then he told me, Manay Nati, can you help me? I want to go to Manila and enroll in the College of Law. Said, okay. I said, if you want to come, you can come. I was already very confident because I had my $100 a month pension. And then, so he came to Manila and then enrolled in the College of Law. Then, one after the other, while my brother was taking pre-law and all that, one after the other, after graduation, they would ask me if I could join me in Manila, and then they would, until everybody, one after another, graduated. Then, after graduation, they will go to their own, for example, like Desideria, she graduated education, and then she went to Albay, Legazpi, and then taught in the high school. And then my sister, another sister came, she took pharmacy in the University of the Philippines. After graduation, I helped her buy a pharmacy. So she had a pharmacy and all that. Then after 4 years, she got married to a lawyer, and then all of this. Until every one of them came to Manila with me. They boarded and lodged with me until the last person, the youngest of us, Jordan, graduate as an agriculturist. So, I am so proud. Up to this time, they acknowledge that without Manay Nati, none of us would have graduated. None of us would have come to Manila. But because of her, all of us were helped by her. So, we cannot repay her generosity. She had been so generous to all of us, to the 9 of us. Even my sister who got married, I told her, you are the only one who will not wear our cap and gown. So I told her, you better enroll, I said, in the normal school in Legazpi, and you get a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. Because he was then teaching in a barrio school. So, she enrolled every Saturday classes. She enrolled until she graduated Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. And then in 1958, the last to graduate was the doctor. Because medicine is a long career, no? So he was the last one to graduate. So in 1958, all of us graduated with a career. The 10 of us. So my mother was already very proud, and my father, and all that, because everybody was a graduate in college. All of us were pictured in our cap and gowns, the 10 of us. And then Clemencia, I adopted her. Do you know that? Don't tell her. She attended a funeral of the brother-in-law, the pilot, in Solano, Nueva Ecija. During the return, they fell into a ravine where she lost her husband. Good, she did not leave Catherine and Cindy. She left these 2 children with me, because then Cindy had measles, so she did not go to the funeral. And Catherine, they were all left like that. When then I think my husband got sick, got a stroke. When he got a stroke, he recovered for the first time. Then he retired from the Navy. After his retirement, again, he had a second stroke, which was already fatal. And it became a Parkinson's disease. That is how he died, with Parkinsonism. So, I was widowed, then like that. And then Clemencia applied for an immigrant visa, and she was granted an immigrant visa. So that was the time when we came to New York. All of us, Clemencia, Cynthia, Catherine, and me, we came to Manila, out to the United States in New York. We were introduced to Dr. Gamboa. This Dr. Gamboa is a neurologist, Filipina, married to a neuropathologist, an American. So, when she saw me, she asked me if I can babysit, if she will have children, if I can babysit her children. Then I told her, said, any job that you can offer to me, Dr. Gamboa, I am willing to work with you. I can do anything, I said, except vacuuming and ironing. Those are the two jobs I cannot do, to vacuum and to iron. Said, no, you will not iron, you will not even vacuum because my husband is the one vacuuming and our clothes are all in the laundromat. So that was the time. The weather in California, in New York, was not conducive to Clemencia because he was already in a wheelchair. It was so cold for her. She got a traumatic arthritis at the back, so they had to move to California. In California, they landed in, what's that university? Loma Linda University, where she worked first of all as an accountant, because she was already a CPA in the Philippines. Then she worked as an accountant in the Loma Linda University Hospital until she became a controller, until high school, where Cynthia graduated as a nurse. And I was again helping them. Then Catherine went to San Luis Obispo and she enrolled in the San Luis Obispo College, where she got engineering. And she graduated as a mechanical engineer, where she met this husband, Dave, in the college. Dave wanted to marry a Filipina. And so, after graduation, they got married and I attended the wedding. They all married Caucasian. So they started their life like that. The Lord has been so kind to me, maybe because of my generosity. You know, I had been so generous from the beginning up to the end. I had been very generous. I had been helping people with my earnings. And when I was babysitting, you know how much they were giving me? $450 a week. So I was helping everybody, even in the Philippines. Now, I have help, and help. That is how the Lord is repaying me of my generosity, giving me long life. In the name of the Father, of the